Welcome back. This is VSA. The Senate has defended the purchase of 2023 model of the Toyota Land Cruiser sports utility vehicles for 107 senators at a whopping sum of 160 million naira each. It also acquired bulletproof vehicles for Senate President Godswill Akpabio and his deputy Barau Jubrin. The move garnered heavy criticisms from some Nigerians, slashing the lawmakers for being insensitive to the mood of the public amidst high cost of living. Many say the move was provocative at a time that most families can barely feed their members 3 square meals per day, and hospitals and roads are collapsing rapidly all across the country. Well, joining me on the program today to discuss this, and of course, matters arising around it, is Habib Aruna, Chief Press Secretary to the former Lagos State Governor, Akinwunmi Ambode, who of course is joining from Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
All right, I mean, this is a rather, well, I call it, maybe for want of words, disturbing news for quite a number of Nigerians. But to start off our conversation, I mean, you've been around the chambers of power for quite some time, or when you were press secretary to the former Lagos State Governor. How exactly does this process works? For our viewers at home.
Yes, thank you very much for Dapo for inviting me, and good afternoon, viewers. I think you see, we borrowed a presidential system of government from the US. And the system that we borrowed was supervised by the military. In other words, in 1999, before the military left, the military gave us a constitution. The military supervised and superintended the constitution, which was done in line with the structure of the military. So what we have is a military-sponsored constitution for our presidential system of government. And this government operates at 3 levels and 3 forms. The 3 levels are federal government, state government, local government. 3 forms are the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. Now, we have the executive, who are the ones that execute policies and programs. People that make laws are the legislatures, which we call the National Assembly in Nigeria, National Assembly in Abuja at the federal level, the House of Reps and House of Senate. In the state, we have the Houses of Assemblies. The bone of contention here, Dapo, is the senators and the House of Reps members who are being accused by Nigerians of being insensitive and in utter disregard of the realities of ground in Nigeria today, which is the fact that things are not too good for many homes in Nigeria. And people were thinking that with that kind of reality on ground, our lawmakers in Abuja will be in tune with their reality and be very careful with the way they demand, with the way they operate, and the way they flaunt this thing we are seeing in the social media and on TV. So the way you operate is that there is nothing bad that in our lawmakers giving their tools of work, what to help them to do their work. But the bone of contention here, as you said in your news, is that people are not comfortable with what we are seeing.
I want to just pick you on the aspect where you said giving tools of work. We know that, okay, fine, you might need a vehicle for mobility, you need the office, you need, some level of accommodation. But the question a lot of people are also asking is, what happened to the previous ones used by maybe the person, who occupied that same position before, the new representative? Is it a situation of once there's a new administration or once there's an election, then there's fresh allocation? How exactly does this process itself, that transition, how does it work in terms of procurement?
The way it works is that, and sadly too, is that as set of lawmakers leave office, the pecuniary of office, the furnitures, the cars and everything, they go with it.
So it becomes their, they go with it, it becomes their personal property.
That is the way it is. That is the way it is done.
Is that by law, or it's just a culture?
Maybe by convention.
Okay.
Maybe by convention. And you see, the thing is that Nigerians are not holding their lawmakers, their public officials accountable. This is a wastages. We are becoming to be aware now that this is what has been going on in Abuja. It's been going on for decades. Both the Second Republic, Third Republic, and the current dispensation. That is what you see. The lawmakers go away with their furnitures. They go away with their everything that is in their office. They go away with it. So the new set of lawmakers will now begin to buy new ones, and they buy new ones with our taxes, taxpayers' money. That what is going on, and that is very, very worrisome. One was expecting that the last lawmakers, the last Senate people that were in Senate in the last dispensation, 4 years ago, House of Reps, that at least I was thinking that there should be some vehicles that are left behind by the committees, that the new ones, the new Senate committees will use to do their job. But what we are hearing is that just like they bought 4 years ago, they are buying new ones now, with taxpayers' money. So that to me is not acceptable.
So what do we hold accountable for this? I want to believe that there is some sort of agency or ministry that accounts for. I mean, if you use a tool, it's like working for a private organization, for instance. The day you choose to resign or move on, or you're let go, you have to hand over the company's properties. And I mean, I think that the HR is, ensures that whatever is, has been given to you at your first day at work, ensures that all those things are returned. Is there an agency that is responsible to ensure that any public office holder that, leaves office hands over government's property back, to the coffers of government, or are they just docile?
That was the day I was going to Ife. That was 8-9 years ago. Honorable Dimeji Bankole was the Speaker of the House of Reps. As we are coming from Ife to Ibadan. Ostensibly, the Speaker's convoy was going to Ife from Ibadan. We counted 17 vehicles. We counted 17 SUV on that convoy. That is the fragrance abuse of power that they have been exhibiting in Abuja. And who holds them accountable? When the lawmakers and the lawbreakers. The lawmakers are supposed to hold the executive accountable. And the essence of democracy is that we elect people every 4 years. That's the meaning of democracy. We are the one that elect them. So they come back to us to seek another mandate. We will now look at the books. How have you been? How have we been doing in the past 4 years? If we are okay with you, we re-elect you. But unfortunately, in our own environment, the system does not encourage or have free and fair elections. So it's difficult for you to hold the people that you elect accountable because they are ready to circumvent the process. They lose at the polls, they go and seek refuge under the judiciary to get the results. So we are in a vicious cycle, and it's very, very unfortunate. One would have thought that the leader in the Senate, out of Reps, will be more conscious, will be more sensitive. That is about Nigerians now. Gentlemen and ladies, please, let's cooperate. Let's manage the one that we have on ground. Let's even patronize innocent motors.
I was about going there. Because I know that
the gentleman telling us yesterday that they have to buy the vehicles because the roads are bad. I'm not supposed to repair the roads. Dapo.
I was about going there because I mean, if you are to also look at if you are to look at some of the reasons, the committee chairs gave. He said that one of the reasons is because of the nature of the roads, the Nigerian roads, which of course majority of it, or many of it is not motorable, and for that reason, the amount of money they have spent in the past servicing their vehicles should they visit their constituency is usually high, and for that reason they need very, very strong vehicles. Number one, what do you make of that assertion? And then also number two, the fact that some have even said, even if you would purchase SUVs, we have local manufacturers. One of the brands you mentioned, why not sort of patronize them so that the money flows inwards? So, I mean, looking at all of this, how do you make sense of it all from your own perspective?
I'm very despondent.
Okay.
What is going on now? And ordinary Nigerians that are reasonable should be concerned about the future of this country. We have some bunch of capacious lawmakers in Abuja who are unmindful of what is going on out there. The gentleman was telling us yesterday that because of bad roads, you have to buy SUV. Because he must go to his constituency, Nigeria must buy him an SUV. Because he must be comfortable to do his work, you must buy him an SUV. And I begin to answer, to ask. The last time I checked, the lawmakers in Abuja, they've not invited the past Minister of Works, who was there for 8 years. They've not invited the civil servant in that ministry. They've not invited the current Minister of Works. Come and tell Nigerians why the roads are bad. Why they can't plant those roads. I'm not supposed to ask the questions. That is their job. The job of lawmakers is to hold people in office accountable, to tell Nigerians what is going on. The roads are bad everywhere. And the man is justifying the purchase of those vehicles because the roads are bad. It doesn't make any sense to me. The man is just ranting. Ranting.
All right.
Doesn't make sense to me at all.
Okay. I want us to go to the cost of governance, particularly, in the country, in Nigeria. One of the defense the committee chair also gave is that he doesn't really understand why there's so much talk when it comes to senators, purchasing vehicles, that it happens across board. He even made mention of a minister who has about 4 SUVs, right? Now, some have argued that the cost of governance itself in Nigeria is one of the highest, if not the highest in the world. What do you make of this?
No. That is the reality. And it is an evident truth. The cost of governance is the highest. Both the way they operate, their salary, their allowances, the obstacles that they collect when they travel is mind-boggling. And for goodness sake, we do not have the resources. We don't have the money. Nigeria, from the books on ground, is a poor country. And those in power they don't think that this money that they are spending, they have to save for tomorrow. Nigeria has the worst cost of governance, perhaps in Africa, if not the world. Look at the last time they went to the UN. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs was in Holland, or Netherlands, about a few days ago with entourage. Where's the money coming from? Where's the money coming from? Some are even saying that the system we are practicing is too expensive. And we should go back to the First Republic, where you have the parliamentary system of government, that the minister will be members of parliament. That will, in large measure, reduce the cost of governance. But they don't care. They don't care. You see, the upshot, what I find very interesting, that I can draw from all this is that people in power are concerned about themselves, not the people.
So why is that? Sorry for cutting in here. Why is that? Is it that the people themselves are not assertive enough to demand accountability, or our institutions are weak and they're unable to ensure that leaders are accountable? Why is that?
Yes, it's part of it. It's part of it. The institutions are weak. We don't have that culture of resistance, culture of protest. People don't find it very easy to go to the street and protest. They rather, in our little ways, to be okay. Find solace in church or mosque. God will do it. To be okay. So but at the same time, we should not forget that Nigeria is part of human society. Human society have instincts of resisting something that is not realistic, that is not good. So Nigerian government and those in power should not push them to the wall to react in ways that will be inimical to good development. So I want to believe that those in power are watching. They are watching and seeing that Nigerians are not happy with what they are doing. Because with time, because you see, people will resist this thing with time. It may not be immediate, but a revolution does not take place in a day. It will gather stream, but will now boil out. And unfortunately, we do not have a National Assembly that is assertive, that is independent. It's not a must that they must fight the executive, but the legislature's job is to hold the executive accountable. They must not be on the same page, with the executive.
All right.
I'm not particularly happy with Senator Akpabio. I'm not particularly happy.
Okay, quickly, why is that?
I mean, so I think with time, Nigeria will realize that these guys are taking us on a jolly good ride.
All right.
And we resisted.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. Habib Aruna, Chief Press Secretary to former Lagos State Governor Akinwunmi Ambode, joining from Lagos. Once again, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
I mean, just before we roll into the next topic, there are about 107 senators in the Red Chamber. And to think about it, if each vehicle cost at least 100 million naira, multiply that by 107 and do the math yourself. I think that can actually fix some schools in Osun State. We'll be right back.